Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, LarryWBrooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, LarryWBrooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we had over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Good day. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this week, just like it is every week here on the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. And I want to thank everyone at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, at Good Vibes and Company, who make this show possible. So big, huge shout out. I ask that you smash the subscribe button, share, like, let everyone know in the real estate space about the Prime Real Estate Network podcast, because we have great information and great education to share with you every week in this hour. I'd like to introduce my co-host at this time. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, he's a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, and the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. I want to thank him so much for sitting in with us on the Prime Real Estate Network. And I'd like to introduce to everyone in the audience, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Rick, man. It's what can I say? It's another amazing day. Another amazing Thursday and a great opportunity to be here on the podcast, man.
Hey, man, everything is great, man. I'm so thankful that you're able to carve some time out your schedule to sit in with us, man. It's been so much going on this week here in the city of Houston, man. Could you just share a little bit with the audience as far as what's been going on in the world of the Texas Real Estate King so far this week?
It is, man. It's been a lot going on, but for the most part, man, it's just, want people to continue to stay locked in and try to follow a vision of home ownership if that's something that you're seeking. If you're looking to sell, right now is an ideal time to sell. But one of the things that we love to point out, man, please follow me on the IG page. I always share events that's taking place. Lately, I've been sharing a lot of places that are hiring here in the Texas area, a lot of places that are offering scholarships. I know we got our students that just got out of school. They still have an opportunity to fill out letters and information to get scholarships. So follow the channel. We're going to be putting more of that information out here so that if you're looking for scholarship money. And I also want to give a shout out to my guy, Mike McElroy, home inspections, man. Amazing mug here. Thank you. And he's always supporting the brand. But he was over with Mike a couple of hours ago. Yesterday, I believe it was. And we was over giving some scholarships away at Bethel's family. So, yeah.
No, and I urge everyone in the audience to take you up on that offer and follow you on Instagram, because one of the things that Larry and myself like to do is to share what's going on in the real estate industry here in Houston and keep all those buyers, sellers, investors, and most importantly, real estate professionals on the know as far as what's the latest and greatest as far as education and networking. One of the cool things we were able to do, and something that you spotlighted on your Instagram page, Larry, last week, was the class that you and I both had the honor to attend and learn about AI, artificial intelligence, and how those things are starting to change some of the marketing and promotion that real estate professionals are doing online. So could you just share a little bit about that class and what you took from it and why it's so important to get that information out there?
Yeah, man. Well, first off, shout out to my brother, Jay Bradley. He hosted the class. Well, Houston Real Estate Brokers, Houston Black Real Estate Brokers actually hosted the event. Jay Bradley was our speaker for the day. And man, when I tell you the AI imagery and stuff that you see that can actually change and help assist you in your business is a positive thing, man. I think a lot of people are getting afraid of it, but I think that if you apply yourself well it could be another assistant that us in the real estate field kind of always need. So Jay Bradley just did an amazing job at going everywhere, going through the entire process of what it could look like when you are, putting together an imagery of yourself and being able to return messages in your own voice. It's scary, but at the same time, I can see how it can assist us in our business, man. So I took a lot away from it. I took all those resources down. So yeah.
No, and what made that class so powerful, and once again, I want to give a big, huge shout out to Jay as well, because it was a very informative class. It just speaks towards how, as a real estate professional and an advocate for those in the market that want to buy, sell, or invest, how we're almost in the education business.
No doubt about it.
And how AI is allowing us as real estate professionals to educate the masses in a more efficient way. And someone like yourself, who not only is a real estate broker, but is also an author that also has a clothing brand that gets out and speaks to the youth and also networks with other professionals, this can do nothing but help to assist your education platform and how you can get those messages out, which just brings us to this week's guest. It's just amazing how this AI is just changing everything.
Yeah, man. The thing is because it's so crazy, Rick, because this is an ideal sign, and it's a teaching moment for those of us that feel like at some point we hit this, we get this degree, or we hit this, we take this class, and we no longer have to learn anymore. Life is continuing to change, man. So, I just always I get a chance to tell my son all the time, man, you're going to be learning for the rest of your life. You're going to always have something new that's going to come to you, and it's going to be in a continuously learning. And I know people that are in their 90s and they are continuing to learn and pick up new ideals and new projects and things like that. So it's here forever for us.
And that just brings us to this week's guest. I'm really excited about this week's interview, is because I want everyone in our audience to take as much knowledge and education from this week's guest, because just like yourself, she's a highly successful broker, author, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and the whole 9 yards. And I'm so excited to interview her today alongside you and allow her to share her story with the audience. So, every week we try to give you an opportunity to share with our audience a little bit about the background and how you were initially introduced to our guest. So could you just share a little bit about this week's guest with our audience, Larry?
Yeah, man. Actually, we met many, many, many years ago. We were just laughing about that earlier because it's been quite some time. But we were actually at a NAREB conference. And so NAREB is the bigger body of the Houston Black Association of Realtors. And so we were at a conference, and at that time we attended many different conferences just to get better at our industry, get sharper at our tools and our tool book and our tool bag, and had an opportunity of meeting her, sitting down and talking with team members and other brokerages that was in her area, and some of her friends and myself and Michael, and just really built an amazing relationship of understanding that we can duplicate these different things that we're learning, not only here in the state of Texas, but in other areas around the country. And just, she was amazing then. And just watching her platform since those days it's just taken off. I mean, everything from the amazing TED Talks that she's had to just on a daily and consistent basis, getting online and informing other realtors, us in the public, other entrepreneurs on how to go out and just be great, man. So it's an honor and a pleasure to have her on the show today.
Oh, no, thank you so much. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. This week's guest is not only a highly successful California real estate broker, she is a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and an industry leader. I want to thank her so much for sitting in on the Prime Real Estate Network. And I'd like to introduce to our audience, Miss Constance Carter.
Hold on, Constance, you muted. Let me get Jess. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Go.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
My mic sounds
How you doing?
Oh, that mic is live. I'm telling you. I'm getting one of those.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's good to be here with you, brothers. I appreciate the time. Thank you for inviting me.
Man, thank you so much for sitting in with us, Constance. Absolutely. First things first, man, for those in our audience that are being introduced to you for the first time, could you just share a little bit about not only your real estate brokerage, but also about your authorship, your motivational speaking, and everything that makes you Miss Constance Carter?
Oh wow. So I opened up Catalyst Real Estate Professionals back in 2010, just by a need of wanting to be a different, a change agent. That's what a catalyst is, a change agent. Just approaching real estate much differently than my counterparts. I wanted to be transformational rather than transactional. And so that's how I did my business. And then I formed a company that was just strictly around just helping people. I just believe that when you help people, you will never be broke because there are so many people that need help. And so I built this great business model, and just a lot of like-minded people came to work for me that have the same heart, same passion, same desire. And we just really grew very well, and have had a great team. Last year, I actually transitioned my real estate business, and so we still have a small team. We no longer operate in Stockton, California. We joined EXP, and so now we have access all over the world. So we recruit agents from all over the world, and so that's kind of where we are now. I have a few best-selling books. One called Keeping Score: What You Need to Know to Make a Credit Score Grow. I was trying to see if my books around here. I have one called The Secret to Breaking the Broke Code. Oh,
Mhm.
Keeping Score, and this Build Credit to Build Wealth. And then I have another book that I'm getting ready to release. I'm getting ready to drop pre-sales for. It's called Grow Your Money, Don't Blow Your Money. Y'all
Hey,
are the first people, actually, y'all are the
Yes.
first people to actually even hear about this release of this new book. It's the
come on,
Black
exclusive.
Woman's Guide to Financial Freedom. Grow your money, don't blow your
Wow.
money.
Wow,
Now,
there we go.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and there it
it's
is.
an exclusive right
It's
here.
an
Drop the
exclusive. Y'all
exclusive.
are the
Yes,
first ones.
indeed.
I haven't even announced it to my audience, so y'all are the first.
Okay, I
Wow.
have to ask you, Constance, because I have the luxury of being able to sit down with Larry on camera, off camera. We strategize. I pick his brains. We talk about different marketing things, different promotional things. As a broker in California who travels all over the world, Texas speaking, DC, New York, how was it that you were able to wrap your arms around your total business where you can be a motivational speaker, a highly successful author, while at the same time motivating and inspiring the realtors that work with you at your brokerage? Because I've known Larry for more than 20 years, so I've seen how everything that we've done has evolved over time and how he was able to get his arms around so many responsibilities. But for the members of our audience that are being introduced to you, how are you able to get your arms around so many moving parts and build the ship that you have that is everything that is your brand?
I think it really just kind of happened over time. I wouldn't say that I just jumped right into everything and started doing everything. I got really good at one thing first, right? So I just believe that you should become the subject matter expert at one thing really, really, really well. I became an expert at real estate in my area. I was a top producing broker. So as things went on, I ended up, I was making some good money. At 26, I got my real estate license. At 33, I ended up filing bankruptcy. I was making over $200,000 a year, almost $250,000 a year, but yet I had more month than money. I ended up filing bankruptcy, 379 credit score, broken, car repossession, foreclosure, short sales, all of that, and had to reset. Even though I was still making this money, but I had nothing. I had nothing at the end of the month. And so from there, I worked on my credit, got my credit back up, and did all that stuff. And a lot of these ideas come from other people because I'm not the big ideation person, but they came as a result of a need. So somebody was like, you should write a book about credit, because that was my love. I used to do these things called credit parties. While it was like a Tupperware party where I'll go to people's houses and, talk to their loved ones. Just like, I really like these little cell groups where you could just really impact a small group of people. It'd be like 10 to 20 people there. And that person would host it. They would provide the food. I would provide the knowledge, and people will walk away transformed. So from that, I wrote a book about credit and it became a bestseller. And then I started building my business and I was inspiring my agents. And I remember being at a it was at a power networking conference. And somebody was like, "Are you a speaker?" And I was like, "Nah, I do home buyer workshops." They were like, I don't know. For some reason, I think you should be a speaker. And then I just kind of started speaking more. And I knew I loved it. Let me tell you something. This is what I never shared with anybody. I was at a Lisa Nichols conference, right? And Lisa Nichols is one of my coaches and my mentors. And I was at a conference, the first time I ever went to her conference. And I remember walking in. I went to the bathroom and I came back in and I opened the door and it was like this wind blew over me. And I looked at her and I was like, that's what I want to do. And it was just like this epiphany came over, like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I was just so inspired. And, I've been able to, be on stages across the world, impacting people. And it's just been a really great journey. There's always some bumps in the road, but I just use my hardships as a blueprint to help other people. And so that's just sort of what I've done. And it's just, like I said, so it's evolved over time. It hasn't been, some people come and they be like, I do this and I do this and I do this. Well, let's do one thing very well.
Yeah. You know what? Let me share a couple of gems that I picked up out of that. For those of you that are just now kind of maybe getting into your industry or getting into this real estate industry, small groups are not a bad idea. A lot of times people feel like they got to have wall-to-wall 400 or 500 people to speak in front of. Like, I literally love the scenario of getting down, going to homes. And that's a system that a lot of beautiful network marketing organizations are built off of. Small gatherings. Let me talk to you about what it is that I offer. And then you just continue to build off that. So even you new realtors that are just now getting licensed, this might be an opportunity for your friends to kind of bring you into contact with their friends and doing something at the house. Maybe have your broker come out, speak to them to kind of help nourish that business. But just a little seeds. I think that was an amazing gem that I think a lot of people need to take away of a way that they can actually build their business. So start to build their business as well. So I think that's great. Yeah.
Also, I got a lot of practice doing that too. Practicing speaking in front of people.
Wow.
No, it's great. And I appreciate you and Larry for both sharing some of those best practices, because one of the things that I'm sure as a broker, you are highly sensitive to is how to inspire and motivate all of the agents that work and partner with you, because in this industry, there are ups and downs and there are high end cycles, then there are more challenging cycles of the business. So just from a 2023 perspective, Ms. Carter, what opportunities have you shared with the agents you work with to try to keep them inspired and motivated and ambitious to keep building their brand and their business?
I just believe there is a season for everything. There's a reaping season and there's a sowing season. During the reaping season, the reason why you ain't sowing is for two reasons. Either you're still in the reason why you ain't reaping is for two reasons. Either you're still in sowing season, so you still need to be sowing, or you ain't did what you're supposed to do during sowing season to actually reap the benefits. And so it's just it's a law of attraction. It's a law of reciprocity. Whatever you put out is going to come back. And oftentimes in business in general, people are, they want to give up. They're right there at the goal. And it's so great because I've been able to sit on the front row and see people just like their lives transform, especially when they were just getting ready to give up. Yeah. And I'm like, no. It's right there. It's right there. I promise you, it's right there. And just keep going, because it's about consistency. It's about staying the course. It might not look like it right now. I know you hungry. I know your kids need some shoes. But if I can get you just to focus, because it's going to happen, because you're helping people. And when you help people, you're going to get it back. And so it's just really just helping people, but just staying the course and being consistent, doing all those things, but just being consistent and creating a business out of service, out of servitude. Because, a lot of brokerages, and this is the right way to do it, right? A lot of brokerages teach, call 100 people, make 10 appointments, get 2 deals. I don't operate like that. I can't sell a paper bag. I'm not a salesperson, but I'm a server. I'm a servant. And so I can help people. And so I position myself in a way where I'm here to help you. And so people want to fuck with me because I help people. I mean, that's just what it is. So, and that's just kind of how I've just operated my business, is just helping people. And I really have a passion, a desire, and a heart to help people.
Yep. No, and I thank you so much. Go Go ahead, Larry.
Well, no, I think that that's perfectly how it's supposed to work. We're in a service-based business. So when you become an entrepreneur, most of the time you're in the ones that are successful in some type of service opportunities that they present to people. So,
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to leading with your heart or leading with caring, because people don't care how much, people don't care about doing business with you until they know how much it is that you care. So
Right.
ultimately, caring is a big part of what it is that we do. And so everything else will fall in place. When it comes to finances and stuff like that, man, you care or do enough for people, it'll fall in place. Just like shout out to like Lisa Nichols. I remember The Secret is when I first heard about who she was as I watched and listened to her story. And that's one of the things that they speak about in that movement is just, being a way to find a way to give service and caring at that time. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thank you so much for your transparency as far as your thought process and strategies behind how you built your brand, because everything you've done has been so highly successful that I hope there's some members of our audience that can take your tidbits and repackage it and rebrand it and add it to their tool belt to take their real estate career to the next level. But I want
Absolutely.
to make sure I ask you, because one of the things that Larry and I have the privilege of knowing by hosting this particular show is that all of our guests, we've had the opportunity to watch their careers evolve over time. You and Larry have known each other for so long. You guys been able to follow each other's movement, see the books as they develop, see all the different things from a brokerage perspective, all the benchmarks of success, and you're able to celebrate those wins with each other. But for those who've known you, Constance, for so long, but don't know much about your background, could you share with our audience a little bit about what you did professionally before real estate, and what was the motivational tipping point that got you off the sideline and involved in this rat race that we call entrepreneurship and business ownership?
Well, so when I was 23, I purchased my first home and I was working in IT. I'm from California, was in the Silicon Valley, and I was doing that commute. And the person that I bought the property from, I hope she's watching, she was horrible. Horrible agent. So horrible. And she did promise, she over promised, under delivered. There were just so many things that she did wrong, and we were young, 23 years old. We moving into a house that's a foreclosure. She increased the offer that without our permission, and we moved into a house with no dishwasher, no stove, all the stuff she said she was going to buy for us, and she never did. So like so when we get in there, and then on top of that, because we don't really know, we're referring other people to her. And because we didn't know nobody else, we know nothing else. We would come up, because this was like an hour and a half drive from where we were from. So we would come up and then we would wait for her for an hour before she got to, like, it was just a no respect of our time, nothing.
Yeah.
And so and so
Oh, wow.
yeah, and so I was doing the commute thing, and I was getting my real estate license. My husband at the time said, "You know what? You would be really good at that." And I was like, "All right, let me just try it out." Again, everything that I do is based upon the suggestion of somebody else. I'm not the big ideation person. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, right? So people say you should do this, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm an executor." Just period, an executor. So I was getting my real estate license, and I was working at Cisco Systems at the time, and we got laid off. And I had a small severance, but that commute was killing. So you think about, if we were coming out there on a Saturday and it was an hour and a half, that means during commute times, it's at least 2 hours that I was commuting back and forth each way every day. And I hated it. I hated being in that commute. I had one small child. My daughter, she was like 2 or 3. And I used to and then I started getting on the train, and I used to think every day I'm gonna die. It was just horrible. I was so miserable.
I feel like we done took you back there. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm getting a little anxiety right now just thinking about it, but
No, I
but
thank you. I thank you so much for sharing,
funny.
because so many of your business partners and clients and people that you might have been in organizations with, they meet you in the present form, and they may undervalue the evolutionary process you've gone through.
did we lose him?
Yeah, looked like he blinked out for a minute. So tell me this: how long ago was that TED talk that you did?
Google that shit. that was that was during the pandemic. So, people were like, "Oh, she didn't get much applause." There was only like 5 people in the room. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was in the thick of 2020. I did that in 2020, and it did really well. It got like 430,000 views or something like that. I was hoping it got a million, but it kind of
Yeah.
stopped right there. It did
Was
this run. It was weird because it didn't really do anything the first year,
yeah,
and then from December to February, it was like getting like 10,000 views a day, 20,000 views a day. And it was just on Google. And people were like, I see your stuff on Google. I see it on Google.
yeah,
And our phones were ringing off the hook. And it was crazy. And then in February, it just stopped. And it's been at 430,000 since that time. Like it was just a 3-month run. They got
yeah.
from like 5,000 to 430,000 or whatever. And then it just stopped.
Now, do you think it picked up like that because of something else that you were doing
I
or
don't know
something?
what happened. I'm still trying to figure that out because if I could figure it out, I'd do it again.
You'll grab that rhythm. I know,
Yeah,
right?
I don't know what happened, but something picked up and it just got shared a bunch of times. There, 11,000 or 20,000 comments. And, I got a lot of really great feedback.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's where my passion is right now is what I talked about on the TED Talk, which was closing the wealth gap. That is really a big
yeah,
part of who I am. When I was in high school and I was the president of the BSU, I wanted to close the grade gap. I was the
yeah.
president. I said it's my mission to close the grade gap because in this school district, our black average grade is a D minus, and I want
Yeah.
to close the gap. So that's always been black people has always been my passion, just helping us, get into a better position.
Man, you on your IG page, you made you were talking about, I think it was something in Forbes where they said that we were going to go to zero. And I remember this about a year ago or maybe 2 years ago. Just everybody was bumping their gums on YouTube about, oh, the black wealth is going to go to zero. It's going to go to zero. But you recently saw a study that said that was not the case, right?
Yeah, that's dope. So my TED Talk, the premise of my TED Talk was about the wealth gap going to
Yeah,
zero in 2053, about that Forbes article. But I
yeah,
just read an article on CNBC that said basically, and this is what I said, and this is what I said in TED Talk too. I said,
yeah,
I don't believe that because there's too much opportunity. There's too much access to information. We are not dependent on the white man to give us loans. We don't have to have brick
yeah,
and mortar. There is so much abundance out there that everybody has an opportunity to
yeah,
to reach out and to get. And so that's what happened. The pandemic bred so many millionaires, but it
yeah,
also bred opportunities. It bred financial intelligence and
yeah,
literacy to people. People started understanding. They started investing. They started getting to the real estate game. So our net worth actually increased by 300,000. Our
yeah,
home ownership increased faster than anybody else's. Like we are doing a damn thing. So
yeah.
Mhm.
that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, we ain't going down.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe in
yeah,
us.
yeah.
I
Okay,
believe
yeah.
in us.
So, and then I want to emphasize for those of you that don't already follow, it is I am Constance Carter on IG, right?
Nope. I
What
am
is your IG?
Constance Carter.
Oh,
I
Constance
am
Carter.
I am Constance Carter.
Oh, okay. I knew it was in there. Yeah, I knew it was something.
People
I
be
hit
calling me
the I
Constantine.
something.
They call me Candace. Is what it is.
Yeah.
No,
But yeah, they
Constance, I want to
definitely need to
ask,
follow your page. Yeah.
Constance,
Welcome
I would
back, Rick.
love, I know, I appreciate everybody, man. I love to ask you, Constance, because you mentioned how there's been people in your circle that have seen things in you that you might not have seen in yourself at first, where they've noticed certain talents that you've had, told you you'd be great in real estate, told you you'd be great at public speaking. When you think back to your upbringing as a young lady, were there other members of your family, close personal circle, that were business owners or entrepreneurs that when you think back may have served as an inspiration or a motivating factor for you?
No entrepreneurs in my family. I don't think I knew anybody that owned a business anywhere in my family.
Wow.
Nobody. I know, my parents worked very, very hard. And I remember that like my dad, like, so I was gonna go out on my own and open my own brokerage a year before I actually did.
Okay.
And the broker of the company I was working for, he was like, wait a minute, we don't want to lose her. So he just kind of threw me a little office, and I was a top producer out of like, I don't know, bunch of 100 agents. And so he gave me a little office, and I said, I'll do this for a year just so I can learn from this man, which I ain't learned shit. But when I ended up going out on my own, I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I should have went out on my own because this other guy, he went on his own, he's doing great. And my dad said, well, you ain't gonna be as successful as him because you black and you a woman and he's white and he's a man. And I was like, so my dad is my hero. My dad told me when I was a child that I could be the president of the United States, and I believed him. My dad is like everything. But those were his limiting beliefs. That doesn't mean he didn't think that I was brilliant, smart, all of those things that he used to tell me every day. But he had projected his limiting beliefs on me, and I didn't believe that. I was like, shit, am I in the color purple? Is this 1935? Because he never told me that I couldn't do anything, and so that was different. But that was a moment, you know what I'm saying? But my dad loves me, and he thinks I am the best thing since sliced bread. So I don't hold it. I don't hold it on him.
No, when you supposed to be doing this, you must have a stand-up comedy going on because you got the one-liners all day and all night. I'm loving it.
I just like to laugh and have a good time. Don't take me too serious.
Take me serious. Don't say something. You may have to come up with something now. I done said you have to come up with something.
Listen, I've been told I do believe I am pretty funny, and I have been told that I am pretty funny when I speak. So yeah.
Oh no, that's perfect, man. And I have to, especially on the heels of Larry asking you when your next performance is. I have to ask you, for everyone in our audience, Constance, who are being introduced to you and your infectious energy for the first time today with Larry and myself, how can they tap in with you? When would they have an opportunity to meet, greet, interact, even if it's virtually or in person? Like, how can everyone in our audience dial and tap in with Ms. Carter?
Invite me to a city near you to come and speak to you. That's what you need to do. Invite me. No, let's see. I'm on some podcasts, and I have a podcast that I do, and I actually partner with Dr. Boyce Watkins, and so we do some things together. And I'll be, I speak on his conference every year. I'll be at the Power Networking Conference with Dr. George Frazier in August. That's probably one of the best conferences that I love Dr. Watkins' conference too. His conferences are dope. I've been going to Power Networking Conference for about 10, 12 years. And that's probably the single most influential conference for me in terms of my business. It changed, my network. It changed my net worth. Just being around all those millionaires and Black billionaires and brilliant minds. I went from being a student, just a attendee, to actually being part of the faculty. So I'll be there speaking on the main stage, doing a power talk, and I'll have a breakout. And you know what? Well, I ain't gonna say this year. Hopefully they give me prime time, but they don't even be giving your girl prime time. They give me a Tuesday night at 9, but your girls breakout popping. They be full. They be packed than everybody else's. So I will be there.
Where's that at? Where's that conference at?
It's in your city.
It's gonna be in Houston this year?
It's in Houston in August, and in fact, it's the same time as NAREB conference at the same hotel.
Stop it! You kidding?
Same day, same hotel.
Wow!
There it is.
That's crazy. Okay, listen, I got to be a part of that thing.
Okay, no.
I need to see this power conference for sure because I've heard about it. I've studied it, and I've just never been before.
Oh, Dr. Frazier is brilliant. He's one of my mentors too. But that's the power of networking, going to these conferences, getting into these rooms, and just it's how I met Lisa Nichols. It's how I met Dr. Watkins. That's how I met, tons of influencers and thought leaders, is just being around them at these places. So just getting out there, getting in the rooms. That's it.
That's one of the few conferences that I've never been to. And I've,
gotta go.
I've read his book and everything. So definitely.
Yeah, I love Dr. Frazier. I've had him out in California a couple times. In fact, I had my first event in the DMV about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and brought Dr. Frazier out here. It was dope. Wow. Yeah.
Man, I want to thank you so much for your candor, your transparency, and for those in the audience that are based here in Houston, even those people that check us out in Austin and Dallas. She'll be here in August. Sir. Follow her on Instagram, check out everything, tap in, man, because I want to make sure that the time when you're on stage is the livest time of the weekend.
Let's go.
Let's set that thing off, man. So
Let's go.
I want you to know, leading up to the event, if there's anything that Larry and I can get out, if there's any new events that you're highlighting or spotlighting, or that you would like for us to bring awareness to, please reach out,
Appreciate
because
that.
I thank you so much for sitting in with us, man. And
Thank you.
anytime you would like to tap in with Larry and myself, please just shoot us a text, email, man, because we would love to have you sit in again in the future.
Absolutely. And I got you guys on my platform. So hopefully you guys will pick up some new followers from my platform. I shared it out to two of my platforms. So hopefully you guys will pick up some new followers and engagers on here too. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be on your platform. Thank you.
I know, and we look forward to hanging out with you in H-Town in August.
Absolutely. Give me some of that. Give me some of that Breakfast Club and that turkey leg hut. Can y'all give me the front of the line? Can y'all give me the front of the line?
Hey,
oh yeah,
that's
no
what
doubt.
those are the points of contact I'm gonna be making to get to the front of them lines, because them lines are crazy.
Bet.
No doubt about it.
Thank you so much, Queen, man. I look forward to speaking with you soon.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, Larry, you know, you committed us to this power conference, brother.
Yeah, man. Listen, I've read about it because I've read Dr. Frazier's book. It wasn't called The Black Effect, but it's something along those lines. I can't think of what it is, but I've read it on several different occasions. And so I was aware of the conference, but just never had an opportunity. You know, in August, there's so many conferences that are like aligned. You got the National Sales Network Conference. You got the NAREB conference. You got this conference. So it's always been back to back to back. And since I was always so closely associated with those organizations just here in the city, I would always attend those conferences. But I do think this is going to be my year, especially since it's in my city, to go to that power conference. I've always wanted to go.
Hey, man, look, man, we got to make that happen, man. Once again, man, great guest, man. She was so dynamic and effervescent with the energy, man. I hope everyone that checks out the show really enjoyed Miss Constance Carter, man, because she is a great professional and definitely an inspiration. Look, man, you know, we at the point of the show where we ask the Texas Real Estate King to spill all the weekend comings and goings. So what you got on tap, brother? What you got going this weekend in the world of the Texas Real Estate King?
Man, I tell you, today is a busy day, right? So there's a lot of networking events going. I believe in real estate relationship currencies. If you are in the area, you're catching this out live, you are more than welcome to stop by the Brooks and Davis corporate office. We'll be having lunch. We have someone coming in that's going to be hosting lunch and talking about their business, talking about their brand to the agents. So if you're in the area by the corporate office, feel free to stop by. The Houston Black Association of Realtors are hosting a happy hour from 4 to 6. I cannot remember. I think it's at, if I'm not mistaken, it's at Vic and Anthony. So if you're in the area, you most definitely want to tap into that event. I'll also be going by an event later on, Chapman and Kirby, Andre Notice, and Seneca. Two past Prime Real Estate Network alumni are going to be hosting a small business event over at Chapman and Kirby. Again, I believe that one is from 6 to 9. So if you're in those areas, by all means, stop by, show some love to these events, come network. This is you heard my friend Ms. Carter talk about sowing your seeds. Well, she didn't say use the term sowing seeds, but putting out. But it's basically sowing your seeds, right? This is at the time when you're putting your seeds, you're planting your seeds, you're networking. Networking is you planting your seeds so that when harvest season is in for you, you put in the work. So this is time for those of you that don't have a big book of business, or you're looking to, regain, networks and connections and create that relationship currency. This is that time.
Look, man, I agree totally, man. I urge everyone. Tap in, follow. If you're in the city of Houston, if you're in the real estate field and you're out and about today, hit up those events. Follow Larry on Instagram at Texas Real Estate King. Follow myself at Prime Real Estate Rick, man. Hey, as always, brother, it's an honor and a pleasure to put this down with you, man, just like it is every Thursday here on the show. One more last huge shout out to Ms. Carter and everybody over there on her team. Big, huge shout out to everybody at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, and super producer Jay Joseph, always, man, for making us look better than we supposed to look doing this, man. So look, big, huge shout out, man. Thank everybody in the audience. And until next week, everyone, please be safe and be blessed.